Welcome to the deep dive. We're jumping into a story today that's pretty intense, definitely complicated, and very personal.
Yeah, it's about the journey of an artist whose radical visibility kind of shattered norms in her home city.
Only to earn her this massive acclaim across the globe.
Right. And we're really looking at that core tension. What actually happens when your biggest success abroad triggers, your deepest condemnation back home?
It forces you to invent a whole new way to exist, doesn't it?
Well, whole new language, really.
And that new language is exactly what we want to explore here.
Yeah.
We're diving into the sources for The River Between Worlds. This is a big project, includes a novella adaptation, and this almost 3-hour musical piece, the dance mixtape for Alina.
Mm-hmm. So our mission today is to track how one person, this character Navita, navigates identity, art, and these huge cultural divides.
We'll be looking at her story arc, the narrative itself.
And digging into that hybrid musical language, how it reflects her fluid identity.
And then we'll try to connect the dots, using 5 key themes that sort of explain why this one struggle really resonates, especially for anyone living between worlds.
So good.
Okay, let's start at the beginning. Setting the scene for Navita. We find her in old Lahore, right? The sources paint this really vivid picture. Narrow lanes, spices in the air, dust.
Yeah, the call to prayer, that whole atmosphere. And importantly, this family structure built around order and obedience. Very traditional.
So the tension is right there from the start. You've got this strict external world.
And then this internal world of creativity just bubbling up inside her. The sources say she found refuge, but in secret.
And what was that secret? It wasn't really rebellion at first, was it?
Not exactly. It was simpler. It was the family TV, the small one. She'd sneak off to watch old black and white movies, Pakistani films, Indian films.
Getting really close to the screen, learning what the sources call secret lessons.
Exactly. She was mimicking the actresses, how they moved, how they held themselves, their expressions. It was like she was teaching herself how to be seen, even when she felt invisible, her own secret stage.
But that couldn't last, especially once adolescence hit.
Yeah.
The source material gets pretty tough here. It says her physical changes just made that distance between her and everyone else even sharper.
Yeah, she was ridiculed, called too soft, too strange.
And it wasn't just outsiders. Her own family members asking things like, why can't you just be normal?
Ugh. And the neighborhood gossip, which is maybe the worst kind of censorship, branding her unnatural. She was trying to shrink, but the more she tried, the more she stood out.
It sounds like an incredibly difficult environment. So what was the turning point? How did things shift?
Well, the outside world kind of breaks in. An arts collective shows up. They're looking for actors for this underground theater piece.
Okay. So a chance.
A door half open, as the sources put it. And despite being terrified, apparently Navita goes to the audition. She steps in.
And lets herself be seen.
Yeah, lets that body she learned to hide actually move. And when she finishes her piece, the sources say she saw something new in the eyes of these strangers. Not pity, not ridicule, but
admiration.
Admiration for the first time. And that look, that response, it validated everything she secretly felt about herself.
Wow, that must have been powerful. And that moment, it leads her from the stage to the screen pretty quickly, right?
It does. Her first film role, it was small, but bold. An experimental short, described as being stitched together roughly, shaky cameras, low budget, but lots of heart.
And that little film starts to travel.
Exactly. Carries her image to festivals far away. Her name starts getting whispered in these international circles.
And that's when the trouble really starts back home.
Bingo. The classic double-edged sword of getting noticed, while her face is up on screens overseas.
Her own city reacts with, well, the sources say venom.
Yeah, it's specific too. Clerics denouncing her from mosque loudspeakers. Politicians calling it a scandal, calling her art contamination.
That's way beyond just bad reviews. That's threatening.
It's an existential threat, absolutely. Imagine the emotional toll. Being celebrated over there, condemned over here. She must have wondered if she'd, betrayed her roots or something.
She could have just retreated then. Pulled back.
But she didn't. Instead, she does something quite strategic, really amazing. She enters this major local beauty pageant.
A pageant? That seems counterintuitive.
Well, it was an event designed for women like her, in a sense, but she totally reframes it. It becomes an act of defiance.
How so?
She doesn't focus on beauty standards. She uses the platform to talk about dignity, about worth. And when she actually wins the crown, she feels it burn with responsibility, not vanity.
So she weaponized the scrutiny, turned this superficial platform into something meaningful.
Precisely. Turned it into a stage for her truth. But the conflict didn't go away. It actually got sharper.
With her next film.
Yeah. Her next major film, apparently braver, more tender, it gets banned immediately, instantly. Censors call it dangerous, immoral.
Billboards torn down, theaters dark in Lahore.
Right. And the sources emphasize that silence, the silence of the Lahore theater. That hurt more than any insult she'd faced before.
Which leads us to this ultimate, just stark contradiction.
A heartbreaking part. Far away, that exact same banned film premieres.
To a 10-minute standing ovation.
10 minutes. She's standing on a foreign stage getting this thunderous, lasting applause. It's like a direct answer about her worth, an answer her own city refused to give.
Wow. That contrast.
Yeah.
The silence at home, the roar abroad.
Yeah.
That's the whole metaphor, isn't it? That's the river between worlds.
It absolutely is. And that duality, that identity forged in conflict, that's what we hear in her big artistic statement, the dance mixtape for Alina.
Right. The music, it had to reflect this plural life, defy those simple labels.
And it's ambitious, nearly 3 hours long. The sources are clear. The playlists are intentionally global, multi-rooted. It's this mix of high-energy defiance and deep introspection.
Let's break down some of those sounds. What are the anchors?
Okay, so she starts with her South Asian anchor. High energy, you get Punjabi music, specifically that driving, dole-driven bhangra. The prompt for that section was literally dole thunder.
So tradition, but amplified, electrified.
Yeah. And then, crucially, the Bollywood sound. Not just pop songs, but that rich, sweeping, filmy orchestration, those grand cinematic scores you hear in classic Bollywood films. The prompt there was sitar and neon lights.
Drama, romance, history, all mixed together.
Exactly. Then, moving globally, there's the Afro-Caribbean and Latin urban influence, specifically reggaeton. And what's cool is the source mentions the technical detail, that driving, syncopated dembo rhythm.
That signature beat.
Right, that relentless beat. She uses it to project this sort of unyielding energy. The prompt, fuego on the pista, fire on the dance floor.
So why pair those specific global genres? Reggaeton, bhangra.
Well, they're both these huge, high-energy cultural sounds from outside the sort of standard European framework, right?
Yeah.
They represent the global dance floor, which mirrors her global stage.
Makes sense. And there's another layer.
Yeah, the fourth anchor. Dancehall and Afro beats. Again, bass-heavy, rhythm-focused. Capturing that tropical heatwave vibe. Putting all these together, it's a very conscious choice to speak to multiple audiences, refusing to be pinned down to one single, national, centerable identity.
It's a statement in itself. But the mixtape doesn't end there, right? There's a shift.
A huge shift. The coda. After almost 3 hours of this intense genre-hopping energy, it changes completely.
What happens?
The final track is instrumental acoustic jazz. Really slow, BPM 50, super quiet, just upright bass and vibraphone. The prompt was, her clouds.
Wow, from Dole Thunder to her clouds.
Exactly. It's this deliberate come down, a moment of quiet vulnerability, maybe even serenity after all the noise and defiance.
That musical journey perfectly mirrors her life story then. The public roar, then finding that internal peace.
I think so. And if we connect her story and this music to the bigger picture, it offers this kind of blueprint for resilience, maybe. The sources lay out 5 interlocking themes that help make sense of it all.
Okay, let's walk through them. Theme 1, identity and visibility.
Right. And the deep dive really confirms visibility isn't the finish line. It's more like an ongoing negotiation. It takes courage, sure, but like we saw with the cleric.
It immediately ramps up the scrutiny, makes you a target.
Precisely. So the creative work, the mixtape, the novella, it's not just self-expression. It's consciously building a counter-narrative against being erased.
Okay. Theme 2, cultural tensions. That whole home versus abroad thing.
Yeah, her story is a perfect case study in cultural gatekeeping. But that idea of international acclaim being protection, was that practical protection or more just moral support? What did the sources suggest?
It seems like both, actually. The international fame gave her leverage. It meant the condemnation at home couldn't just silence her completely because her work had value, literally currency, elsewhere.
So the global spotlight acted like a shield, made her harder to silence.
Which connects directly to theme 3. Art as resistance.
Yeah, where artistic expression turns vulnerability into a kind of public force. And her using multiple forms, text, music, performance, makes the message harder to shut down.
Her monologues become testimony.
And those bass beats become rallying cries, reaching people in ways a single-player film might not.
Right. Okay, theme 4, diaspora and global recognition.
This feels crucial. The diaspora community is acting as lifelines, providing financial backing, moral support, basically keeping her going when the local system wanted her gone,
So global recognition changes the whole dynamic. It creates leverage against censorship.
but also makes you more of a target for backlash locally. Liability and leverage at the same time.
It's complicated. And the last theme, theme 5.
Mentorship and community impact. This is about legacy. Navita, or Alina in the mixtape context, uses her platform not just to survive, but to build something for others. The sources call mentorship a radical act of solidarity.
Teaching new artists how to build careers, how to navigate censorship.
Yeah, basically turning her own survival skills into public knowledge, into infrastructure.
That feels more lasting than just fame, building infrastructure.
Definitely. Which brings us back to that central image, the river between worlds. The source describes Navita at the Ravi River, realizing her life flows between these two unreconciled places. The one celebrating her, the one condemning her.
And the river isn't just about division, is it? It's about flow, movement.
Resilience, transformation. She realizes she's been trying too hard to fit into one single safe reality. She needs to embrace the duality.
So the story's final truth isn't about getting everyone back home to finally approve.
No, it seems she lets go of needing that full approval. She accepts her role as like a mirror for her community, a presence that demands to be seen, whether they like it or not.
She's not measuring herself by applause anymore.
Right. Her worth comes from the quiet, defiant act of being authentic. Authenticity becomes her most profound triumph of all.
Learning she can be both seen and serene, carrying the applause and the censure and just keeping moving.
Yeah. So we've seen how this one artist's journey shows fame is messy, art is resistance, and this kind of hybrid identity can be incredibly rich, artistically.
The story really shows that recognition, yeah, it's validating, but it can be fleeting. What lasts are the connections. Empathy, trust, vulnerability.
Which leaves us, and you listening, with a final thought to maybe chew on, building on that idea of legacy. What kind of structure beyond just individual fame can communities actually build to make sure that those who dare to be visible are also genuinely safe?